Welcome to the Football Critters Podcast. I'm your host, the Otter, and with me is my co-host,
The Bear.
and we are doing
Defensive
tackle.
lineman.
Yeah, big boys right in the middle with all
Tackles was last
sorts
week.
of pretty much. Yeah, defensive
Last week.
tackles, defensive linemen, interior guys, the big guys in the middle that do all the dirty work, getting
Need
stuck
one.
in the mud.
You know, there's a lot of people that believe that actually defensive linemen are going to go early in this draft class just because of the fact of defensive linemen are getting paid big time. I mean, how much did Leonard Williams get this year from you guys?
24.
I mean, Wilkins got paid. There's quite a few. I mean, big time
Well,
payout this year.
having really good interior guys is also hard to come by. So when you get them,
Oh
you
yeah.
pay them a lot of money. And everyone was using the Chris Jones contract as like their base point. So
I
Wilkins
mean,
is
he's
like,
worth it.
"Yo,
He's
absolutely." But
worth
they're
what they
like,
pay him.
Wilkins is like, "I am probably worth 70% of what is paid," and then like Leonard or Williams was like, "I guess I'm more like 60%, 50%."
I see him as a cap casualty in like 2 or 3 years.
Who, Williams?
Wilkins.
Oh, maybe. We could talk NFL all day, but I think we should get started
Talk
with
about
our
the real
top 10.
boys. Yeah.
The guys who can come in, maybe make an impact. There is so many shapes and sizes, so many different roles that are going to be played in here. You're going to have fat boys plugging holes. You're going to have
Oh yeah.
guys who can go on the outside and also push from the inside. Good run defenders, pass rushers, bunch of roles that you guys could pick up in the draft. It's going to be fun. And there's a lot of fun guys in this group.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was hard getting the 10th player in
Oh
here for
yeah.
me cuz I don't know, I felt from probably 7, probably 19, you could all argue are worthy of that 10th spot for different reasons. We definitely have a real mix. It's not just, big heavy nose tackles. There's some guys here that I think could play edge. I mean, there's some defensive linemen. There's some guys who just should really stick to the interior. There's so many types in this class.
Yeah. Others gonna like some of these guys to specialize in certain gaps and how much traffic they can handle coming their way. But how about you? How about you start off with your number 10
All right.
defensive lineman?
Well, my number 10 is Brandon Dorless out of Oregon. He's an edge to me. He might play defensive end, but he comes in at 6'3", 290, so he's a little on the light side for the position. But this guy batted 6 balls down this year, man. And dude, the way he does it, it's pretty awesome. I mean, he's got some pretty long arms and he uses them very well. I don't know about you, I really thought his bull rush was pretty impressive. I definitely think it could improve. But I thought he was really good with his bull rush. But I mean, he's a really athletic guy. He puts great effort forward. And I thought play after play, he really shows a decent motor.
Yeah, especially in the run game. Like he doesn't give up. Well, he doesn't give up on any play.
No.
If I one thing I noticed about him is that he does get from the edge or like the outside or even like at the 5 tech position, like he gets pressure, but he doesn't get like the sacks. Like he's always around
No.
where the quarterback's at. He's just not going to be the one that's finishing. I mean, which is good. I mean, you need guys as like the guy who's going to flush him out of the pocket and push him into the guys that are going to clean it up for you. The athletic guys that can catch, especially with how fast all these QBs are nowadays. Like all these running quarterbacks, you're going to have
Yeah.
to. You need someone to flush them out towards other athletic players on your team, and I mean he pressures all day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Where's I gonna go? The one thing I did think is I don't see him as really a run game guy. I thought of him more as just a pass rusher.
Yeah, actually, I didn't mind him in the run game. I don't think he will either early on in his career specifically. Like I think he'll be rotational pass rusher.
It just
But
seemed like some of the gaps were missed at times. Even some of his tackling it was okay. It wasn't great.
I've seen some plays where he's like he can hold a guard one on one and make a play. He can one gap pretty well, but he's very hybrid esque. Like he's going to be a stuck between being an edge or more of a guy who's holding the B gap or something. But what I kind of have written down is like my role for him is like if he ever ends up being like a full time player or he needs to step up because injuries happened his first year or two because he's not going to start right away, I don't think. But if you're going to do it, I would say put him in the middle on rundowns, and then when you're in passing down situations, throw him on the outside because I think you can have other guys that can set the edge really well, and he is a bigger guy than a lot of the edges are. So I mean, he could do that too. I just like the idea of if you're going to rotate him between different spots, and he can play multiple alignments. I think he
Oh,
can be a
yeah.
contributor to a variety of schemes.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he could either play defensive end or, like I said, I really think he could play edge.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
think that's out of the question for him.
if he is going to play edge, he definitely needs to develop more pass rush moves. I don't think he has that in his game very much, other than maybe a solid bull rush.
Really?
Uh,
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it's a bull rush, but
he's got some rip
but
moves and
he's
stuff,
really
but
he's really good with his arm extensions,
yeah,
and I just feel like he's so good at that that I feel like the rip could definitely improve and could really be a key part to his game. I
I
mean, if
see
he
that.
could get that worked out,
Yeah,
I mean,
I just saw this being more effective against guards though. Like tackles are gonna, I think, eat him up all day with his arm extension. I don't know who really knows because everyone's going to use this guy differently. It really will depend on the scheme. I mean, if he's not going to be inside all the time because he doesn't have the strength to really hold up against
no.
in the like especially against power.
Like
Um,
I said, I mean, well, I actually I don't know if I really said it. His speed, I mean, was pretty good.
oh my
That's
god,
really
yes.
why I want him on the edge. I mean, like he's got a bull rush, so that's a key tool. He's got the speed that he can play on the edge. Like I mean, I kind of look at like I don't know. I look at like the Bengals defense and the way that they play with the edges. I kind of feel like he'd fit there. They could really use a guy with speed like that on the edge with him. Him and Hendrickson, that'd be pretty awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean,
I like the thought of that actually a lot.
if he
I
does, I want him to develop some more moves and maybe lean out more muscular strength. I mean, I think his quickness is so good in the interior too. Like he can his first step, he can already be like through a gap before some guards can even react to him. He'll be on one side of someone's shoulder and then he'll line up on the right side of a guard's shoulder and then already be on his left side pulling through because the guard's like trying to go for his right, cover his right shoulder, but he goes around to his left and he's like already pushing towards and then the guard's off balance. I really I think he can do rushing in either spot.
I meant to ask, where is he on your list?
He's my number 9, so he's not
Oh,
far
okay.
from me.
So
I have
we
an
were pretty close.
yeah, I have an 80.5 grade on him. Leaning towards some
I
pass rushing is kind of where his grade boosted him up. But
I gave him an 84.7. So
okay, wow.
close
Okay.
enough. All right.
I like it.
We were there. So we know who your number 9 is.
Yep.
But who's your number 10?
My number 10 is Mackay Wingo out of LSU.
Ah,
Yeah, you just finished him up, didn't you?
I did.
Bet you he's not on your list though.
I bet you're wrong.
Oh, is he? Ah, yes. Good. I love this guy.
This is why I need a little more time to watch. He's actually my number 6.
Nice. Okay, good. I really like
So
this guy.
I mean, I'm hoping this groin injury isn't a problem next year because I mean, missing 5 games kind of sucks.
Well, yeah, he had to do surgery on that too.
Yeah, he did. But he was the team captain last year. He played for West Virginia for his first 3 years, I'm pretty sure of. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm mixing him up. But he is the team captain. That was Jefferson.
Oh,
Not
okay.
gonna talk about. At least not for me.
No.
Yeah,
Uh,
dude, I really like Wingo though. Sorry to do that. He's really versatile, man. Like he can play inside, he can play on the edge. His footwork, like the way he chops his feet is like exactly what they teach. Like I mean, he's explosive. He's like the problem I had watching their D line is it's like the play would go past them, like they maybe run the ball to the right or do a short pass, and the other linemen just seem to stand there, don't seem to try to make any play after that. It's like, oh, my job's
Oh,
done.
really?
But when you watch Wingo, he's running downfield.
Oh, yeah.
Like if he feels he can get there, he's gonna run for it. And man, I really, really appreciated that about him.
I thought his get off was, especially in his lower legs, like he could pop on a guard
It was one of the best.
real quick. Like, and he can drive that dude back so fast. Like despite his like size, he's like a mini bowling ball just popping at you. Like 6 foot, 284 pounds. And what I really did like, I thought, he's got one of the shorter arms for his position, but the way he uses his hands were so good. You didn't even notice that he had those issues because he's not letting guys get his
How
hands
small
on
were
him.
his hands? I mean, his arms?
32 inches, which I mean,
That's not. When you said that, I was thinking like 31, 30.
well, 31's like abysmal. 32 is kind of like you want a guy to have like 33 and a half to 35 for, not 35,
I
sorry.
mean, as
But
of today, I'm not as anal about
well,
that with D linemen, like with offensive line. Yeah, okay.
I'm not anal about it either. I'm just saying usually the guys can get the grab on him early, but he's so good with his hands.
Well, yeah, his rip is pretty good. Like
Yeah,
he
or
can
his
whack hands off because he's got that power.
exactly. Yeah, like he smacks the shit out of hands, and
And
his first step and explosiveness to get around and put a guy off balance, like he's got some decent bend to him too.
so it was pretty awesome watching him against Florida State. Dude, he was triple covered by three of the offensive linemen, and he still fought through to like get through at the play. I was like, oh, this is wild, man. Like I was a little mad that the camera angle like kind of went off of him as he's getting out of it. I'm like, no, like he just man, he plays angry. I mean, he's got that power. He's got I think decent speed for his size. Like there's a lot I really like with this
Oh
guy,
yeah,
man.
and even in the run game, like when he's sitting in those B gaps, like he doesn't really get out leveraged that much unless he's getting double teamed. Like he's so low.
Yeah, he does play
It's
well.
really hard to push him out of the way. But I mean, with his lighter size, obviously you're going to see a lot of it on tape, just because get a center to put him over there too. Like he's not going to win that. He's not going to be a guy who's going to take on a double team. He has a lot work going for him. He's very developmental still, especially in the pass rush department. I do think he could develop some more moves and have some more consistency to his game, because the real problem I found is once his first punch and like first move didn't work, he was done. A lot of guards, and even like when he was trying to do some stunts and stuff like on tackles, like it just didn't work. He got
Well,
stopped right there. But
and also when he knew he was losing the battle, he definitely kind of steps back to watch the quarterback to say, okay, well, where am I going from here? Which
yeah, I mean, I
so
like
even when
that.
he's losing, he's still trying to make an effort somewhere, and his effort, dude, was definitely I think top 5 in my list.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like I said, it's a shame that he had the groin injury and he missed 5 games because I mean, I really wish I could have watched just a little more on this guy this season.
hmm It does seem like a lot of his run defense too is kind of more squeezing between gaps still than it is like holding and holding a gap, which is fine. I don't expect him because of his size to do that. Just saying. That's just part of his game. He's gonna open up some gaps for other players sometimes because of that.
All right. So we talked about
We got my 10, we did your 10, got my 9. Let's do your 9.
so I actually made a mistake here.
Uh-oh.
My number 10 was not Dorless.
Who was Dorless then? Was Dorless out?
He was actually my number 11.
Ah, shit.
My number 10, which I mean there was kind of a little bit of favoritism with this. If you're all right with me talking about it.
Yeah, sure, why not?
But I mean, leaving
We'll
him
just
off the
we'll
list
just
might have been fair, but
yeah, we'll just take Dorless as your extra guy you talked about at the end.
that's fine. But my actual number 10 was Mason Smith out of
Okay, cool.
LSU.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he was the freshman All-American. There he came in. I think he's more of an interior D lineman. I mean, not maybe on the nose, but definitely an inside guy. I don't know if I really see him as a defensive end because he's not really quick. I did have complaints about him with his get off. I think he needs to be a little more explosive. Dude, this guy reminds me of Stephon Tuitt so much. I mean, that
Oh,
that
is
was
this
the
the
thing.
guy you're saying it looked like him?
This is the one,
Gotcha.
and I see it. I do think Stephon Tuitt is way more explosive though.
Right.
But this guy does have the athletic ability, and he's got great size, man. 6'5", 306.
This guy's
Like,
got monster arms, 35-inch
oh,
arms,
wow. Okay.
and that tiny, small hands though, 8.5-inch hands.
That's interesting. Well,
Just
doesn't he,
not that
he's not
not that
playing
it matters.
quarterback.
It does help with like the strength, some of the grip strength sometimes, but
Um, but like
I'm not expert on that though.
2 years ago, he basically missed the entire season because of an ACL tear, and I'm really hoping that's not why I'm seeing the issues I'm seeing with the
Yeah.
explosiveness. That's why to me he could only be 10th, and I definitely think he's still a project at 10. I mean, I think his handwork definitely needs help. I see him quite often getting locked up on offensive linemen. I thought his IQ was decent, but it felt like he could only do one or the other sometimes. He could either be rushing through and taking care of the offensive lineman or be keeping his eyes on the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean,
Like I said, explosiveness.
that's what I liked about it too, and he was actually really effective at, like, getting his arms in the way. Like, even he's not batting passes as much, like, he's definitely changing the angle of the throw because he's so big.
Oh,
Like,
he's massive.
they have to throw around him a lot of the time. Now, obviously, he's trying to get to the quarterback first, and he can move in, like, a ways that I did not expect a defender like him could move, like, the way he
Yeah,
can, like, twist his body for especially for his size. Like,
and I feel under the right coach, he's going to be very good. It's just
yeah, it's gonna take a couple years, I
because
think.
like I look at the way I graded him and like I pretty much put him around the board like very balanced. Like not a very high grade, not a very low grade. Like I think the only high grade he got was size. But I
Right.
didn't give him any like the lowest grade I gave him was technique because there is times that he gets a little too high.
Yes.
Which was very clear. I think he can work on it though. It looks like he was getting better at it as the season went on.
Yeah, it just his experience is just so low due to him missing so much time. Like,
Oh
he has
yeah.
never played a full season,
No.
mostly due to injuries, and even, this
Well,
year
didn't he?
well, there's this year specifically, I was gonna say,
He only
was
missed
the
one
NI
game this year.
yes, but still counts. But the
Yeah.
NIL agreement thing, yeah, he got in trouble for, he got suspended.
Yeah, what was that? I actually I was gonna look into
He
that, I just
he
did not
had
have the time.
it's the dumbest thing. He got in trouble for doing, like, autographs before the NIL agreement came through. Like, he was literally a week away before the NIL agreement allows him to do, like, whatever the I'm not sure what
Seriously?
I'm not sure what the paperwork is, like,
Yeah, he's
why
gotta get
he
his money.
yeah, right. Well, so he had 1 week left before he was allowed to do it, and he got suspended for a game for that. But most of the big losses was just due to injuries. I don't think he has never not played a full season, so he hasn't had the time to develop as much. And I think this year, like, I didn't give him that good of a tape grade despite his measurables, just because you can tell the explosiveness has kind of been lacking. And I
Where
think
is
that
he
is
on your list?
he's my number 11. But I have a
Oh, okay. So, right, 10 and 11.
yeah, I have like a late 3, 4 round 4 grade on him for that. But
Yeah, I see him as like a solid third round pick.
right. But
Um,
he has a lot to love going for him. Like, he heals,
Absolutely.
like, you give another year off off that ACL, I think he's going to be a force, and then give him time to develop as well. Like, he shows flashes of brilliance despite his size. He generally has great leverage, though he does get high sometimes. His quickness for his size is surprising, and hit the bend he can put out when he's trying to go around someone's outside shoulder. I was like, I didn't even know you could bend that way, being that big. But
Oh, yeah, and that's where, like I didn't want to beat him down with the technique, but it's just like his his block shedding was very one way to me. I thought there was a lot of weaknesses.
Yeah, I had a lower grade on his block shedding, but I did see he could handle some double teams sometimes, which is not very. It was actually very hard to find someone who could take on some double teams in this
He
list.
didn't do terrible though. Like he was able to
What?
fight it. It's not like he totally gives up.
No, no, I'm saying he can. I think he handled it pretty well for the most part. Not every time, but I'm just saying finding someone who can actually do that is pretty hard in this fight, unless you're going with those big dudes in the later rounds that are basically pluggers of the like in the run game. But
Oh yeah. And I mean, like I said, the reason he's a lot lower on my list for the most part is A, the ACL injury.
yeah,
And B, he doesn't have a lot of experience. But I really think I'd love to have him, honestly.
oh yeah,
Big fan. And actually there's another guy on this list who's very similar to him that also didn't make my list, but I would love him and I would definitely give a significant pick to go get him.
right.
Um, even with a low grade.
Yeah, if you have a deep line and you want him to develop behind some of the veterans, like pick him up
Oh,
because
I think this is a
he's going to
year
be
to
a I
do
think
it.
he's going to be a value in that fourth round. I don't
Oh, if
he
he's there, I would run to the podium. I'd
yeah.
push a kid in a wheelchair off the podium just to go get it.
So yeah, basically we swapped Brandon Dorless and Mason Smith on for our list so far
And that's fine.
on that, which is good. But so that was your 10. Who is your 9 then?
Well, this is a guy I know you're gonna want to talk about, and that's Dwight
No.
Carter out of Duke.
Oh,
I couldn't leave him off my list, dude.
I couldn't either. He's on
His
my list too. He's actually my number 8. So he was going to be who I was going to bring up next. So I'm
yeah, man.
kind of sad you ruined that for me, but
Like I said, I could not keep this guy off the list. I absolutely loved him as well. So I was glad when I heard you said you liked him.
oh
He's
yeah, he's my favorite. He's my
he's
favorite on this list, hands down.
he's really smart.
Yeah.
He plays very smart. He doesn't put himself in bad situations, and he definitely allows the other players on his team to make their move, and he backs it up
Yeah. Yeah, he can
just in
die.
case they miss it.
He's like he has like that linebacker brain where he's trying to
He
diagnose what
does,
the offense
yeah.
is trying to do, and like if he knows the quarterback's gonna like throw a screen or something, like he never hardly ever falls for screens, especially because he knows he's not going to make it there, and he has tons of pass rush moves, and he has like so much in his tool belt. Like I've seen
Oh,
spin moves
yeah.
come out of him, swim moves, clubs, like.
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much can do it all as far as hand
It's
techniques.
funny. He did like some of these like little dance steps too, kind of like a little shimmy, and then he'll like
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, I
confuse
do
a
remember
guy.
what you're talking
I
about,
was like,
yeah.
"What are you
He's pretty
doing?"
good
And
at
he's
it,
pretty good.
though.
I like it.
But,
I was extremely impressed.
dude, the way he would bat balls was pretty
Yeah,
much I mean, he was really good at it, I thought. And, he's good off the line, and he that 4-point stance, man, the power he comes out of a 4-point stance is it's pretty awesome. I mean, he's ready to go. The only
he's another one of these guys that held up well on double teams. I saw like,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah, I
also has
agree.
tons of pop in his first hit. Like you can see him getting like knock guards back a little bit more, gives him a little extra space to decide what his next spin move or whatever's going to be, and what his counter will be. Like I thought those were great, but
But,
um,
he can stay pretty low even for 6'3", you know what I mean? Like, I felt like that was definitely something he did pretty well with it. The only complaint I have, he's slow.
he is less athletic than the other guys on this list. Which
Yeah, like, definitely one of the least athletic guys on my list.
like other than his maybe I wouldn't say explosiveness. I would say his first step is good, but not like great. Like not like a lot of these other guys we're going to be talking about. But yeah, he's not like a nimble mover. He's just too smart to be in the right spot a lot of the time. And I will say, despite him being smart, he can be a little over aggressive, especially in the run game. Sometimes
Well,
he'll try to penetrate gaps that aren't there and or take himself out of position. That's where the run game's going the other way. I don't know if that was planned or not, but I wouldn't imagine why it would be. Um
he also had, I think No, he was the second highest. He had the second highest missed tackle rate. At a 26.7.
Yeah. Well, I think that's because, like I said, he was over aggressive and he's
Yeah.
not getting the
No,
right
it's
angles in.
yeah,
He definitely left some meat on the bone out there. Like that's the crazy part. Like as much as like awesome tape he left a lot on the table.
and like I mean personally I don't see him for the Steelers, but I mean I do think there's a lot of teams that he'll fit the need. I think he could even start his first year. I think he has the intelligence to make it work.
I think he'll be a great rotational player his first year. He just brings, like you said, he brings a lot. He brings a lot. He just needs to fine tune it a little bit more. He's smart enough to learn things quickly. And I'll say this: watch his 2022 tape if you can,
Is it a
because
big jump or what?
it looks a lot better than his 2023 tape. I don't know where the
You know,
drop off was.
I actually did hear something about that. I think Dane Brugler might have put something in the Beast about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not see that part, but
I know I read it somewhere.
I will
Maybe it's
say
PFF.
it could have been. I did go back and watch, and I was like, his production shot through the roof. Like, I think he put a lot of what he likes to do on tape that year, and people were playing around it this year. Also, like you said, you like talking about captain 3 times in a row, baby.
Yeah. 3-time captain.
3 years, unheard of. No, he's fantastic, and I would be over the moon to have him, and I'd be a fan of his no matter what team he goes on.
So 9 is doorless for you, I'm guessing?
Yep, got Wingo 10,
Okay.
Dorless 9, Dwayne Carter 8. So I guess
Okay.
throw your 8 out there too. Just go down the line.
Oh man. I hope this guy made your list. He probably didn't, but I'm still gonna put him out there. And that's McKinley Jackson out of Texas A&M. Uh,
Okay, no, I did not.
I see him as either a nose tackle or an interior defensive
I
lineman.
do have the same, yeah.
He's got decent speed for his size, man. For a big guy, he can move,
Oh yeah, for
and I
sure.
really like that. I mean, he's built like a dump truck, man. But he can really move when he needs to. You know, he's another guy that I thought did really well in pretty much all the different pass rushing techniques. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
not just a bull rush. His rip was pretty good. Like I feel like the push pull method on the offensive lineman, he did pretty well with that. There's just so many tools that he has. He's really explosive off the edge. I mean he's really explosive off the line. And I really like that. But they did only use him rotationally. He wasn't on the field a lot, and
Right.
I know there's a lot of guys on this list that way, but I can't not. I have to note it. I think the other guys above him on this list were definitely had more snaps than he did. The other issue I noticed when you talk about doubles, people giving up on doubles, he gave up on doubles.
Yeah.
It was pretty obvious he's pretty weak at it, and it just seems like he's just like, I'm just going to conserve my energy.
Which is kind of like sad because I think he has the capability, but I just
Yeah,
don't know if
and
he like knows how to anchor very well. Like I don't know if he's like just better at going forward and he just can't doesn't like getting pushed back. I don't know what it is. And I also noticed like he kind of gets washed into the inside like a lot.
yeah.
Guy comes in off to his side and he's getting just taken out of the play in run games. I actually have him as my 20th guy on this list.
Ooh.
I didn't like him as much as you did, obviously, but I think he had a lot going for him, but just not to the same level as a lot of the other guys on here.
I also think the team around him was pretty bad.
I mean, that's completely fair. Like he could have just been the one guy on a one man island. Like all I do is just watch the guy
You
and how
remember
he
when
plays.
we you remember when we watched Fashanu and I told you that Fashanu would block defensive linemen into other ones?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When the guard would not get his block. I saw that quite a bit with him as well.
What, like
Um,
he gets blocked by other, like he gets pushed
there's
by?
other there was other offensive or defensive linemen that were getting bullied on plays and they'd be pushed right into him, and it's
Yeah,
like it just breaks his momentum.
yeah. I
I
mean,
saw it a few times.
I mean, I totally understand if that's the case. Like, I would, I can review that, but
But like I said, the doubles
I
thing
just
is a
watched the
problem.
tape. Yeah, I just watched the tape, and it could be better. I can check other years, but yeah, in the run game, I just saw him get taken out too many times, and if that's the guys around him going to, that's on that. In the pass rush game, I think his bull rush was good for the most part. His initial punch was awesome,
Yeah,
like, but after that, it lost steam too quickly. I
I
thought.
do. To
I don't think
some
he was.
degree, I agree.
I just didn't think he was able to drive with his legs as much as I would as seen like
Well,
other good bull rushers do.
he can't use leverage to his advantage because he is only 6'2".
Yes,
I mean, 6'2", 325. I mean, the weight I like,
I
especially at what he was doing,
I
and
actually
the way
thought
he can move at that weight.
he did really good at the with getting some leverage a lot of the time. I thought it was pretty natural for him because he's measured at 6'1" at the combine, 326.
Yeah, God, he even came at 6'1" later.
So I don't know. I thought he got some natural leverage, and I think that kind of helped his bull rush. He can crush the pocket pretty well. Like he's going to make the QB feel uncomfortable back there. But like I didn't think he was as explosive as you said. Well, actually, I don't know how you rated his explosiveness, but
I
I
thought
did.
he was decently explosive, especially for his size.
Okay, well that's fair then. But the one thing I wanted to see more out of him is just his hand usage could have been more consistent. Like especially with how his long his arms are. Like he's gonna out length a lot of guards. So if he gets that hand usage down, like especially the placement, I think he'd be really good. But just some things he needs to work on. And I just saw him as a developmental guy and who's not going to really play early. So that's why I just threw him. I didn't have that much of a grade on him.
I think he could start right away, but I think the only thing he'd be doing is rundowns. I think
Yeah.
he'd just be a body to be blocking. But I think it's a good place for him to start.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think he'd be a great just nose tackle role right off the bat. But
Yeah,
anything more than that, I'm not expecting. And I if you're going to have one role to start, I just can't put you in my top 10.
it's fair. All right.
All right, so we did 10, 9, and 8 for you. Let's do my 7. And I have Tavondre Sweat at 7.
Wow.
Right out of Texas.
Okay.
Most of that grades
The
I had
DUI.
I had to add some a thing for him where I wanted to drop his grade for the all the off field shit you heard, but
So you'll be surprised I actually left that out of it.
yeah, I mean,
I just
which
went
is
off of talent.
which is surprising out of you because you do judge people on those pretty consistently. So I'm actually kind of surprised you did that.
Yeah, but I did want to grade him on his talent.
Oh, I mean, his
Um,
talent is fantastic. Like
and I don't know about you. I didn't see anything that he did before that.
he
Um,
just was a known partier and had a low work ethic, is what was reported from what the scouts would say when they talked to the coaches. Like
Interesting.
report like obviously leak scouts like this is why we don't like him. Now it could be just people saying, "Hey, I don't want this guy drafting too high so we can get him." That's been known to happen in the past. But when I heard that and I saw what's on the field, I did see sometimes that he won't he's not a high motor guy. I didn't see that at all because I mean he's a really big dude. Like I don't think he has the conditioning really to keep
No,
up with
he's
that all the
faster than
time.
I thought he'd be, though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
His feet are definitely quicker than I expected. I mean, so he's actually number 4 on my board.
Okay. Oh, dude.
So
I
take
mean,
the DUI out.
I totally
And
understand.
and I get where you're at too with being as a 7th, especially because I mean, I think he's like a 4th round pick now, which is a shame because he could have been a late second.
Hey, being my seventh guy, I have him as a day 2 pick. So
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't shock me still. I mean, dude, he's I like I said, I see him as a nose tackle or inside D lineman. He runs through double teams, man, sometimes, and
oh, I
it's
know.
pretty awesome.
Well, he had to learn that because you are not playing him one on one. He will bully most people. Like even if you're not giving
Oh
up
yeah.
backs, you're at least giving up like 2 yards to the quarterback. Like you're getting your
Oh,
ass
dude,
pushed
his
right into him.
his one-on-one punch into a bull rush is just like I mean, he's putting you back.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the first guy and probably my number 1 as far as flash that I saw at the Senior Bowl
Hmm.
on the one-on-ones. He just runs people over. That's his game.
Yeah.
Um, and he loves doing it.
It
But
is kind of funny because so I like sometimes I label these guys as either like if they're really short and stocky and they're very strong, I like to call them like tree stumps. Like you're not moving them out. Well, him, he's like the full goddamn tree. Like, you're not moving him out in the run game very much. And in both the run game and the pass game, where his true value lies is that he's clearing out blocks for other players. Like he's not going to be the flashiest guy on the field a lot of the time, other than
no,
he's a mammoth, but
I just
he's
think he's
he
pretty consistent.
oh absolutely, and everyone else around him is going to eat because he's on the field. Like I think obviously another guy on this list for us definitely benefited from that having him
Mhm.
on there.
I think his production without Sweat versus when Sweat was there was a little different.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't see him. He's not good against outside runs. Obviously, I don't expect him to.
No, no, no.
Um,
You put him on the inside and you stuff the run.
I did not think he was that explosive. He more of like a build up speed guy. Like once he gets rolling, you're not stopping him. But I didn't think his get off or
No,
was great.
but
Basically, like you're pushing a boulder, right? Like it's gonna be a little hard to do, but once that thing gets rolling, and he has some swim moves to go to compensate for that. So I have him
oh
like a
yeah,
moves like a boulder that has swim moves, like that
my God. Um,
scary stuff.
he's another guy who's played a lot of games in the last 3 years. I mean, he's got a lot of experience playing. He also batted a lot of passes. I think it was
Oh
4
yeah,
this season. Yeah,
yeah, he's good at that too.
and I think his missed tackle rate was like 8%. It's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, I mean, once you're in his range, how the
Oh
hell are
yeah,
you getting out of it? Yeah,
you run. You run
he's
real
so
fast.
fun. He's so fun to watch. The other things I noticed as a negative, like even with his bull rush, I did think it was a little inconsistent as well because his feet look obviously because of his weight are a little heavy, so he doesn't have those
What
quick drives.
what
But
what did he actually come in at as his measurables? Because I have him at 6'4", 362. What did you
pretty
find?
much 366, but the same height. So
Okay.
pretty cool.
So
You're
it's not
gonna
like
what
he
you
came in at like 380 at the end.
no 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 no.
Okay. Well, that's good. With guys like that, I'm always worried.
Oh, that they just throw on weight. That
Well,
was
that they cut the weight for the combine and then they go back and they're
right.
40
Well,
pounds heavier or 30 pounds heavier.
that's the other thing I read. I didn't write my notes on this, but I also read that he had struggles to keep the weight down.
Yeah.
So I mean, what they're putting out, like, I mean, this is a common problem for people of his size, though. Like,
Oh yeah, that's what I'm
it's not,
saying.
but do you have the discipline? Is the question to do that? Other guys his size do that consistently because they have the discipline, and that's the question for him has always been, does he have that? And people are betting that he doesn't more than he does, which is probably why you're hearing him lower because I think other years he's being like top of the second round, maybe even late first for a guy like him. But like I said, I have a two grade on him, like early third, late second. If you really want a guy like him,
Yeah, I mean, I thought of him as a late second, but I think with the DUI, I think we'll see him go early fourth, late third.
yeah, I do
I, s-
agree.
but I wouldn't be shocked though if somebody early third comes up and gets him. I get it. I mean, I have him ranked fourth on my board for a reason.
Yeah, no, trust me. I don't blame you. I wanted to throw him up higher just because of it, but there's just some stuff that scares me, and that's it.
So that
So
was your
who's your
seven.
who? Yep. So who's your seven?
Well, my seven is definitely my favorite defensive lineman of this draft. And it's Justin Aboge out of Alabama.
Okay, cool.
Man, it broke my heart when I found out about his back injury
Oh yeah,
that he's trying to work
that does
through.
suck.
I was like, oh man,
That dude went through so much crap that year. I felt so bad for him when I read up on him. Herniated
he's
disc that he's dealing with. That was up on his like the neck and his spine, like pushing up on his spinal cord. And then his brother died that same year.
oh wow, I didn't even know about that.
The dude went through so much, and even I'm rooting for the guy. I really am because from the accounts I've read, he's a good dude.
I mean, dude, I see him as an inside defensive lineman or maybe play DN on like a 3-4 set.
Yeah.
I don't see him. I don't see him on the nose,
Oh
obviously.
yeah. I think he can
But
play versatile. I think he switch around, play multiple positions on a D line, depending on
dude,
what the down is.
he had 63 tackles this year and 7 sacks, which for an interior guy is pretty darn good, especially when you have Braswell and Dallas Turner
Yeah.
collecting there too. I mean, I think he's a little overlooked. I think he reminds me a lot of like a discount Barmore, and I loved Barmore when he was coming out. And man, I see a lot of the same traits. Like his bull rush is pretty good. I think his rib it was clearly getting better as the season went on. I know you said something about him getting blocked on the tight ends. I'm gonna have to go back and watch
It
a
was
little
it
more
was
tape.
literally just the one game that I saw that on. Actually, there was another game that I did see that on too, but
And I mean, we saw him go up and about against Marius Mims, and he did lose sometimes. But I saw a lot of guys get bullied by Mims. I mean, that's why he is where he is. But I think he's very athletic for his size, and like knowing that he had that herniated disc too, to me gives a plus. I do think his eyes on the quarterback are really good. Like I think he does a good job of keeping an eye where the ball's going, and he's always going that direction. I don't really ever see him lost. He does have a slow get off. I think his first step is kind of slow, and it's not as explosive as I'd like. But I mean, all in all, like I felt like the rest of his technique was what you expect out of Alabama.
right.
I mean, I love this guy.
Yeah, I've watched 4 games of him. And I watched the Georgia. I was watching Brock Bowers today again. And so I got an extra game in, and I honestly, I have him at 16 on my list, and I really can't see him being any more than a day 3 pick. He has the awesome measurables, and the fronts he can play in.
Oh yeah,
And
6'5", 292 is impressive.
oh yeah, he
What was his
like
arm length? Do you have it?
33 and 3/8,
It's pretty
which is
damn
pretty
good.
damn good
Pretty
too.
damn
Like
good.
I
I'll
really
take
like
it.
it. He's got a lot of it in his measurables to love, and I think he has tons of strength. His bull rush is pretty dope when he gets enough steam behind him.
His
Uh,
effort is very good too. He's another
yeah,
one of these guys that doesn't give up on plays.
but I have that he's not much of a difference maker in the pass rush for the NFL. He needs to develop a little bit more moves. Like he has a rip move that I thought was a little inconsistent. Like it worked sometimes, and I thought he got held up a lot, and it was like a 50% chance when the ball's going his way and he's being blocked. He's too focused on the block and he misses the guy coming right by him. I just didn't see enough I've seen too much of that to really give him even a good run game grade. I actually boosted it up because I think the potential is actually insane because
Well,
he
and
can.
that's where I had to put him because of just on potential.
Yeah, no,
Playing a
his
left.
anchor for his size is phenomenal, and he's got a great like he's holding guys still. Like you're not if you're trying to get through, like people are trying to combo block him up. The guy who's trying to peel off of him is has a hard time getting away. Like he bogs things down for the run game, and I think he just still needs a lot too much to work with for me to even put him even as a day 2 guy.
And in some ways, I totally understand. I mean, the herniated disc alone, I mean, is enough to scare many away.
Yeah.
With the herniated disc in mind, I do see him. It's probably a fifth round pick.
Oh, okay.
Without the injury, I see him as a second.
Oh wow.
I
You
think
really you love him.
I I I I would I really want him to be a Steeler. I do.
Okay, good.
I think he
Um,
fits the need.
I just know his pressure rate is actually not bad for a guy with a mostly a run stopping profile. Well, not road profile, but
Oh,
he has like an 8% pressure rate, which is most of the guys in the top 10 are having like 12 to 16.
but they also have. Yeah, I'm not gonna go down that road.
Just
But
saying.
The other
I
thing
just
I
don't
did
think he's
notice, he had a 7.1% missed tackle rate.
yeah. Well,
That's pretty
so
awesome.
that was my note. One move is like if he does see you and you're running by him,
He's gonna get you.
he's gonna get you. And he has like
His tackle is good.
oh yeah, I love his tackling.
Like I
He
said,
doesn't
technique-wise, I think he's very sound. I just
yeah
think he needs to work on this explosiveness and his speed a little bit.
yeah
I don't even
that's
know if I
I
don't
don't
even
know
know if I expect him that much with the speed, but explosiveness needs to get better.
right. If he can get his get off, I think he'll be a dangerous pocket crusher slash bull rusher. But I don't know. I think it's gonna be a bit, but we'll see how it goes.
All right, so that was my number 7. We did your 7?
And we did your six for who is Brandon Dorless, right?
No, my number 6 was Wingo.
Oh, that's right. That's who it was. Dorless was your 11.
Why did all the
12.
guys I like get injured?
It's a curse. Stop cursing them.
I don't like you anymore.
So my number six is actually Rook Orororo.
Oh, man, I wanted to put him on the list so bad. I
Yeah.
really did. It felt dirty leaving him off, but he's actually my number 15.
Okay. Gotcha.
Um, Trust me, I did not want to leave this guy out this list. This is the guy I was talking about when I said I would love to have him in black and gold if he's there. Dude, I mean, just the size alone.
Man, another guy with an injury problem. He's
Yeah,
got his
man,
so, so
there's
that's
a
the
cycle
scary
here.
thing. Ready? So his size is 6'4", 294 with 34
Great
inch
size.
arms. So great arm length as well. His my problem with him is I don't know if he has permanent meniscus damage to his leg because he had damage in 2022 and they had to clean it up, a cleanup surgery that cost him 8 games. And then obviously he had shoulder surgery this season. So little injury prone. I don't. The meniscus is always scary because I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't heal properly, and you might have a series of cleanups as you grow up or your body develops.
Because of these injuries, just like Masan Smith, he didn't get a crazy amount of experience. And even when he did, I think last year they only had him in at 400 snaps.
He has over 1,500 snaps for his career, which is pretty actually really good for a lot of the guys on this list. Like he's not getting 2,000, but he had over 1,500, which is
I
like
just, for a guy
about
to make,
2 to 3 years of full starting experience. But he was there for a long time, though. How many years has it been? Like 6 years. I think he's playing for like 5, 6 years.
yeah, he's a 6-year player. It looked
That's
like
why he has the
5-year.
experience. But yeah,
But I mean,
all these things bog him down. Either way, like here's what I love about him. I think he has tons of tools to play with. I think his hands were great overall. I think that I think he needs to have them develop a little bit more for him to be even more explosive than he already is as a pass rusher. Because when he's going upfield, he is explosive. He can shoot pass through gaps and to the QB in like no time at all. And I've seen him chase down ball carriers going downfield. Like you can't say he doesn't have a motor either.
oh
Uh,
yeah, absolutely does.
and he's athletic enough to even catch them. Like that's the crazy part. Not like fast guys, but that you'd see, but for a lot of these dudes, you're not seeing that. I don't know. I think he has tons of versatility overall. Obviously, his pass rushing does need a lot of work.
Yeah,
But
I saw a lot of people lock him down, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I had to keep him off my list.
yeah, he wins basically with quickness and swim moves, and I don't know what the moves called where you just have your arm go over their head.
Rip.
But okay, so rip moves. That's what I thought, but I wasn't 100% sure. But he does a lot of that. He gets caught. I don't understand what
He
it is.
does,
Once
and
he,
that's what I wrote. Is he gets caught up a lot in pass rush.
yeah,
Uh, I also thought his run game wasn't terrific. He just looks very raw still. And don't get me wrong, I love this guy. Like, you know, he checks the boxes in size, speed. You know, I really do like him in a lot of ways, but I just think he's very raw. Like I see him as a solid like 4th round pick.
I thought he was pretty good against the run for the most part, especially when he's as a gap shooter because the other guys would clean up after him. So they gave him like the green light, to just go out there, and he
I
can
mean, I kind of
also.
felt like a lot of the guys around him were pretty stacked.
Well, just saying, like, and even when he wasn't doing that, like I thought he anchored really well. Like he's one of these tree stump guys. I was saying, like he just his all muscle is the pro thing. Like
Oh yeah, he's very strong.
he's not doing it based off strictly weight. Overall, with his shedding ability, yeah, I couldn't give him a fantastic run grade because he doesn't shed very well. I don't think. And he's also kind of like Justin Eboigbe. He does focus too much on the block a lot.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, but like I said, I still love this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I
It's
think, like I said, I see him as a late third, early fourth, somewhere in that range. He's another one of those guys. I mean, I still gave him 81.
okay. That's where I have him.
So okay, so
That's a day two grade for me overall. I just my question is going to be I don't know how teams will want to use him because I can see it going many different ways. If they like his anchoring ability and they want him to be able to be more of a run stopper, obviously he's going to have to build up more core strength and maybe a little bit more weight. But if you want to utilize his quickness, then maybe you need him to shed that a little bit more and be more of a tweener kind of guy, where he's going to be bouncing all over the line. But so I was kind of curious. I'm not sure where I would put him. I kind of like his quickness enough that I want to see him there, but if he's not going to build up his strength, I don't. He's going to get caught up too much. So he's kind of stuck for me somewhere. I don't know where exactly I want to put him. I just like the tools that he brings to the table.
oh yeah, I like him a lot. So that was your 6?
Correct.
My number 5. Let's see if we're gonna start gelling here. Maybe we can do that. All right.
Hopefully.
Well, my number 5 is Michael Hall out of Ohio State.
And gelled we have,
Oh, there we go. All right.
and the world rejoices.
Yes. Dude, this guy's only 20 years old. I mean, I hated I hated watching Penn State against him. I really, really like him. Yeah, I see this guy is definitely an inside defensive lineman. He's 6'2", he's 280, he's lean, but he plays strong. He is a very strong player. I think a lot of his technique ability was pretty damn good. He's definitely athletic. He's got a really good first step,
hmm
and his hand work is pretty good.
My favorite,
Um,
like especially with his get off, like his snap timing was impeccable a lot of the time.
oh
Like
yeah,
sometimes he's
annoying.
moving just as the ball's going, and the guards haven't even moved yet, and it like surprises them, and he's like, I mean, it doesn't work the whole game, but he can definitely switch that timing up and just speedball himself right through. I have him noted as like a disruptor. Like
Oh, he is. He is a disruptor, and in many ways, pretty much all of these going forward are.
right.
Um, he did have 3 penalties, which was one of the higher parts of our list. I mean, I think the highest in our top 10 was a 4, and actually, he didn't even make the list. That was Dorless. He didn't make my list, and he had a 15.4% missed tackle rate. But
Yeah.
I also think that's because he does get a little greedy with trying to hit
Oh,
people.
he's
He
a
wants to hit people
also
all the time.
he's also once again one of these gap shooters. Like
Yeah,
he's gonna put himself out of position sometimes, but and he's so fast that he kind
he
of takes
is,
himself
man, for
out
his
of it.
size.
I mean, the other like he actually has some moves too that I thought was pretty good. Like his hands were always moving. He's trying never to give the guard a free grab at him. He could probably do a little bit more, but his hands swipe fast. He has some great swim moves.
And he's
Um,
only 6'2", I think. I mean,
yeah,
he
yeah,
doesn't play small,
right.
and he's definitely the lightest in my top 10.
So they measured him at the combine at 290, but I don't know if it
I
was just
found 280.
well, maybe it was. Maybe I wrote it wrong, but let me look it up. Not that it really matters.
10
10
pounds.
pounds does make a difference, I think.
It does. 299.
What else
But
do you love about him?
Well, let's start to talk about things I don't know.
Okay.
So he's inconsistent at times. And I don't know if it's just because he's gassed because he just plays so hard all the time. I've definitely noticed him get pretty high, but I mean, I feel like everybody does to some extent.
Right.
But I definitely noticed him get just a little too high when he's going up against offensive linemen. Sometimes it's something he needs to work on.
Yeah, maybe that's why I have him written down. I saw him lose steam trying to power rush a lot of the time.
No, but I mean he can. It's just it's not
Yeah, exactly. Like
his rip is awesome.
he's a speed guy, like
Yeah.
super quick. I do think he'll play outside more than where he actually played.
Oh, I agree. They just didn't
I
have
think
anybody to put there.
right. Like 84% of the time this year he was playing in the B gap, and I definitely think he's playing further out.
Like
Um,
how far out?
I mean, I think he could be over the tackle,
Oh wow.
um,
Okay.
but because I think his quickness is good.
Oh,
Not
I
like
think it's
not
fantastic.
as an edge specifically. Maybe he could. I think he does have the speed to do it, but and maybe some of the moves, but I don't think he bends and changes direction that well to do that, though. That's the
Yeah, he's
problem
not
I
very
have.
fluid.
Right. So, yeah, maybe not too far further out, but being closer towards the middle, I didn't really like. And being as lighter as he was, or maybe it's more of his frame, I guess. It's kind of like his body type was a little weird for an interior guy because I did see him struggle to shed blocks as well, which I guess is why he was just gap shooting most of the time. But his
So,
pressure rate was pretty good. Like he's 13% this year with like
well,
29 total pressures. Like, hey, it's pretty good
I mean that's
for an interior
still
guy.
towards the higher end. Oh no, I'm sorry. The heck am I saying? He was. Oh no, he was a. Well, I have a 15.4, but wherever you got it from, I'm not gonna argue it. So my number 4 was Devondre Sweat.
Yeah. So we
Who's your
talked
number
about
4?
him. Braden Fisk. Did he make your list? I'm
Wow.
curious if he did or not.
No, he did not make
I'm
the list. I
I
can't. I don't like him.
I understand. I really do.
I don't.
I think his
I want to
tools
like him.
I think
Trust
his
me.
tools are I think he's got so much to work with if he can put it all together. And
Oh, he's extremely explosive.
I don't even think he played that bad. But he's again another one of these guys with extensive shoulder injuries, like injury history.
He
Like
was
he had
number 12 on my list.
okay, well, I mean, there you go. That's not bad.
He had
Well,
bad hand play,
let's
man.
let's talk about his play. All right.
Yeah.
So he's definitely a high motor athlete.
Oh, absolutely.
How he
One of the
goes
better
about
types.
it is could be questioned. He does sometimes take the longest road to get to where he needs to do. So if he could fix that, I think he'd be amazing. His first step is like insanity though.
It is. Yeah.
And even though his hand placement isn't good, his hands are super fast and active that I think if like when he does land that first punch, it's eye popping. Like he gets really good engagement when it does work.
Yeah, I think that really was one of the things that disappointed me with him was I really thought his hands like I think they're decent, but I think he has the potential to be like very good with his handwork.
Yeah. No, he's I don't know. He just has I think he has just so much to work with. And I don't think his floor was that bad. It's just like
I think his ceiling's very obvious.
right. Like he definitely needs to work on his on some moves because he's another one of these guys that can get locked down if his moves don't work.
He
Um
also isn't very fluid. Like
it's
I've seen him
weird.
try to make spins and it's like he gets ugh.
It's kind of weird though. There are flashes where it does work. Like you can definitely see it and then they're like I don't know if it's like it's not lazy, but it feels like he's in
He's gassed.
quicksand. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's like
It's
running
just
hot all the time and he's losing steam, but he shoots out of a cannon sometimes and he can turn on a dime and pop guys. Like his feet are so quick, but then there are times where he's like taking the long way, being slow to turn around. Sometimes he even loses track of where the ball is going. Um,
Yeah.
though I
Oh
did,
yeah, I definitely noticed that about him.
but his eyes are always in the backfield though too. Like he. So I don't know why that happens. Like just the raw inconsistency of him does drive me nuts. But I think
Oh
he has
yeah.
so much to work with.
I also just don't think he gets off doubles at all. I
Yeah.
think he was probably the worst I watched on double teams as far as like these better the better players.
Yeah, but it's hard. It was hard to find guys that were good at double teams in here, especially on it. Like other than maybe two in the top 10 here. Like most of these guys are explosive pass rushing dudes.
I really didn't want to dislike him because when I first initially watched him, I was like, "Wow, I really like the explosiveness." But like when you watch full games, it's not there all the time. He's very inconsistent. I think he's very raw still for somebody who played as many games as he has. I mean, starting off at Western Kentucky and moving on to FSU, he just seems the same year after year. But yeah, trust me, I get putting him at 5. Like there's I I I do understand it to some or 4. You have him
Right.
at. I do understand it. The explosiveness is very attractive. I just don't think it's going to work at the next level. I don't see how he's going to get through blocks.
Yeah, especially like so he's like has the shortest one of the shortest arms in this class.
Yeah, I think I read
31
that.
inches. So I was like, we'll see how
Pops
it
off
works.
on the beast list.
Yeah, it does.
All right, so that was your number 4. Like I said, as I said before, Devondre Sweat was my number 4. My number 3, I think it's probably going to be the same as yours based on the list, and it's Chris Jenkins.
Yeah. So I was actually wondering if
I
you were
don't
gonna
like.
like him that much.
I'm not that crazy about him. I think he's
Okay,
very talented. He's not for me though.
gotcha.
Oh yeah, man. You know he definitely an inside defensive lineman, total run stuffer.
All day.
I mean 6'3", 305, but he's very athletic. Like his burst is very good, and it's consistently good.
Yeah. Oh, he's got
He
tons of power in his legs, like pistons back there, you know?
Yeah, and he did really good off of doubles. I was pretty impressed with the double teaming I saw on him, and he really would. He would stuff gaps.
Yeah.
That was his game.
And he can also grab like he's got strong arms when they're long enough that they can like reach
Yeah,
past their block and grab guys as they're coming by. Like he's slowing people down or even stopping them, the backs as they go through their gaps. Like I was pretty impressed. Like I think out of all these guys on this list, not named Tavondre Sweat, I think he's a good all around guy. Because I don't think he is just a run stuffer. I think he does show some tools like to work with in the rush game. The only problem I have is you, it's hard to say. He has the moves. He just doesn't have a plan for them. That's the problem.
well, I mean, look, he's got a 5% missed tackle rate,
Yeah,
but that also is probably because of the issue. My biggest issue with this guy. This is another defensive lineman from Michigan that doesn't have a ton of snaps, didn't have a lot of production. I think he only has 2 sacks for the season. I think he had around 400 snaps. But yeah, and I mean, even with him being a run stuffer, he only had 36 tackles. So I mean, and like I said, I get nervous with guys like him because this is
you
another
should.
guy, kind of like Mozzie Smith, where he's insanely athletic. Like he's definitely a freak when he's on the field, but he's not on the field all that much. And when he is, he's not really producing anything. I do like a lot of what I see, but I can't ignore the production. I can't.
Yeah,
If it's my personal score, he would probably be towards 10 on
gotcha.
this list. Like it feels a little dirty having to put him this high, but I mean, what you see as far as his athletic ability, I mean,
What was
can't
your
deny it.
overall grade score for him?
My overall grade was an 83 for him,
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's close.
which
I
is
had like
close to the lowest grade I gave. It's the second lowest grade I gave on my personals.
I meant
In the top 10.
I meant like your grade overall for the player himself, like not your personal one.
Oh, the grade that that he got overall was a 90.6.
Oh, damn. Okay. Like I do like Chris Jenkins a lot. I had him as an 84.6. Uh
And like I said, mine is based off of the entire class and how you
right.
did versus them. No, no, no,
Like
you go.
yeah, I couldn't give him anywhere above a 90 cuz obviously mine's how easily I feel like they can translate the NFL
Yeah, I don't see
and
it translating.
I can I think there's tons to work with it translating, like especially considering how his athleticism for being his size and how well he can already be a starting level run stopper.
Like
Um,
like my thing with him is I think he's got very high boom and I think he's got very high bust. Just
sure,
because we keep seeing guys like this come out who have this crazy athleticism, really can, you know, move through doubles and, work their way in, but it just doesn't have really good historical. The great the product on the field that you get in the NFL usually hasn't been that good,
right,
and that's where it makes me very concerned with him.
yeah.
And I
Um,
really hate bashing him for it because his athletics were really good.
no, I
Uh,
mean overall, like I'm not gonna pound the table for him. I just see an obvious role that I think could work, and I think he has enough to his game that I think he could be useful on some passing downs.
yeah,
Um,
and he's got
I,
great burst. I mean,
right,
there's no denying that. I mean, and he is pretty damn strong, but yeah, his hand technique wasn't the greatest at times as well. I definitely noted that one. I see him as like a third round pick.
I think I got a true second round grade on him.
It's fine. A lot of guys like him have gone in the second round.
Yeah, no, I mean I think that's probably where Mozzie Smith should have gone last year, but
I think his dad was an NFL player too, by the way.
oh really? Oh, I didn't pick that
Yeah.
up. That's cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So here's where I'm really interested to see who's the
what
number one
what did I
and
do?
who's the number two, because I think it's very obvious who our ones and twos
Oh
are.
yeah, it should
So
be on everyone's board to be honest.
yeah, I mean, I think that the top two are definitely a step, maybe even two steps above the rest of the pack. And I think
Right.
that's why maybe we'll see both of them go in the first round, just because of the scarcity.
I think it's pretty much a lock that they're going to. Just from the stuff I've been hearing at this point.
You never know, but I
No, you
definitely
never
could
know,
see
but
both of them.
I'm just
I would not be shocked that both of them went in the first round.
absolutely
So, who's your number two?
Byron Murphy out of Texas.
That is also mine.
Okay.
Okay,
I
I
wouldn't
was.
I honestly wouldn't care. I think my grades are so close to both of them.
They're
I
very
just
close on
I
mine.
just think the production Jerzon Newton has showed consistently for like 2 or 3 years is insane, but Byron Murphy is a freaking dog.
Oh yeah, he
Like
absolutely is.
like
Both a
he's
little.
6'1", 297, monster hands size, like his explosiveness and upper body strength and like even his like he's just all strength from top to bottom.
Big effort guy,
Yeah.
very athletic.
He's like a bull that's like wiggling around, like you can't get a firm hand on him a lot of the time. He uses his hands really well in the bull rush too, where he's like moving your arms out of the way. Like it's hard to get a firm grip on him because he's not letting you,
And
and
I mean,
he'll get between blocks all the time.
he had 8 sacks, 70 tackles, and 15 tackles for a loss.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
that's pretty awesome.
16%
70
pressure rate
tackles.
overall. Like
Yeah,
that's awesome,
that's some impressive stuff. And it's weird because the top two guys this year are a little undersized,
right?
but the athletics are not lacking from either. And I also think that I thought that their view of the quarterbacks was really good. I think they definitely have decent football IQ. I think they're both going to start day one on whatever team they go to. I mean, if you're going to take these guys early, like you got a defensive line problem, and I think both of these guys are starters.
I think there's a lot of teams that have a defensive line problem that would probably take him.
And I think one of the problems that held me back with Byron Murphy was a 18.5% missed tackle rate.
Oh wow, yeah.
That was definitely the killer. But with that in mind, there was something about him that was better than Gerson, and that was that he had 0 penalties.
Oh really? I didn't actually write that down. That's pretty good.
Gerson
Good.
had 3, which,
Okay.
we've seen some guys get that. And actually, I'm looking here, I'm very sorry. My missed tackle rate on Gerson was higher,
Oh really?
20%.
Oh yeah. I think. Hold on. Let me see that because I think I have the same number. Yep.
Oh, so I'm sorry about
He,
that, that's on me.
so is
It's
he your
just such
what?
a glaring number.
Is Byron
No,
Murphy your
no,
one now?
no, the grades
He
are
is
based off of completes, but I thought that was the one that killed him. I
right.
just saw the negative 3.7, I'm like, "Ugh."
Right.
His technique, I think, was really good as well. I mean, there's been a lot of really good defensive linemen coming out of Texas. Like, there was a few last year that were later round guys that I was really high on. I definitely remember watching Byron Murphy last year. He's very impressive.
Yeah. He's just a fun watch.
He
Like
he really is. He's second favorite to watch, third,
yeah. I
somewhere
have
in there.
I had a little bit more faith in him than Jerzon in the run game,
I
despite
agree.
the 18.5. Like I think he has like tons, like a lot more strength than him to be able to hold gaps. And if he doesn't, I mean, I don't think he will that often because he's a little lighter, but I think he does have the strength and that can anchor. He's both of them are gap shooters overall. Like that's
Yeah,
their play style. Like they're going to be very aggressive in trying to get the guy in the backfield. I mean, you're not going to get 26 tackles for loss without really being that way.
and they both played all over the place on the line.
Yeah, exactly. Will say too, it does feel like with his, I did like his hand placement a lot. Actually, I'm not even gonna say anything negative about it. I think it was really good because I feel like he kind of had to. I didn't think his arm length was a problem, but he instead of focusing on actual pass rush moves, he just focused on hand fighting all the way through and using and twisting his body in separation. It's a note. I didn't really know if I wanted to put that as a negative or a positive. I see a little bit of both with that because if
I mean, I
obviously,
have a positive on here that's kind of useless as well. So I have that he played fullback, and he definitely caught a few.
oh yeah, that was fun.
He ran a touchdown too. I was like, "This is awesome."
He ran and
Andre Sweat did it too.
yeah. Who was the one that caught the touchdown too? Was it Murphy or was it
They
Sweat?
both caught one,
That's so
at least
funny.
one.
I
I
love
I,
that.
I loved how they did that. Seeing Tavondre Sweat as big as he is in the end zone, and there's nobody covering. They're like, "You're not doing anything. It's
Yeah,
fine."
exactly.
He's out there, just a big old dude catching a touchdown. Man, I love that. I absolutely love that. Gotta love college
Um,
football. But,
but between the two, I think Murphy has the higher ceiling with the lower floor. So I wouldn't be mad if you prefer that
I don't really know how to debate the floor on those 2, but I definitely think the floor on Jerson is higher.
for sure.
I could kinda go either way with the ceiling. I just think they're both very high-end talent.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, I think they're both starters day 1, no matter where they go.
Oh, absolutely.
I just think these aren't guys you wanna leave off the field, and the sad thing is, like, if they both don't go in the first round, it wouldn't surprise me just because of the talent at some of the other positions. In a normal draft, they definitely both would go in the first round, no
Yeah.
questions. I think they still will
I
based on the
just
talent,
oh,
but,
I just wouldn't pass on him in the first just because
you're
like
not
we
you don't wanna pass on them at 16?
I would never pass. Well, I wouldn't want to. Like just because the drop off between these two and the guys in the
If you
back
need
here
them,
just
yeah.
right. But
It
let's
so
show some Jerzon Newton some love. How about
Oh,
let's
dude. So let me tell you something, man. when Penn State played up against him earlier this year, I'm like, man, fuck that guy. I'm like, he is so good. He's a monster. He really is. I was like, oh man, I can't forget this one. This is one I'm gonna be watching a lot of tape on. I can guarantee it. And yeah, he's he's 6'2", 300 pounds is what I have him as. I don't know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
you
yeah.
had him as. He played defensive end. He played interior defensive lineman. He played all over the place, and he's so explosive.
Oh
We're
my
talking
god.
about the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, which is probably, if I had to guess, he's got to be the only one from Illinois. I would be shocked to find out there's another one, at least in the last 10 years. I cannot imagine another one did. But he was a team captain. Man, he had 700 snaps this year. I mean, he was always on the field. You don't see him off the field terribly often. With 7 sacks, 52 tackles. I mean, as you said, he's explosive. He's very explosive. And
Yeah. Strong hands too. Like
oh, and he likes hurting quarterbacks. He loves it. He absolutely loves it. He likes pounding quarterbacks into the ground. That is his goal every single play.
yeah, he just wants to fuck up the play. Whatever it is, he just wants to fuck it up. Pass play, run stopping. Obviously he has this high missed tackle rate, but he is making people freak out in the backfield because he gets back there so quickly. Because even shedding, like he's so fast, you don't get a good
Oh
hang
yeah.
on him, and he just sheds so quickly. His hands are very strong, like, and his hand fighting is constant. And it looks annoying to play.
I mean,
Like linemen look like they're getting pissed off because they can't get him because his hands are everywhere.
he's just a complete athletic freak. I mean, how many field goals did he block last year?
I have
Was
no
it
idea.
2? I mean, the way he can extend his body and just get in there, man, and just block a kick. He just wants to, as you said, he wants to be a menace no matter what's going on the play. I really like him.
Yeah, I love him too.
I kind of wonder if the Bears are going to be looking at him. Do you think
Maybe.
it's too rich at what, 9?
Absolutely not.
Like I
Absolutely
just
not.
like he's from the area. They could use him. He's
Dude, I would not
free.
be surprised at all.
I think he's the
He,
best defensive player that I've watched.
yeah, it's a toss up. Like obviously, I like Newton more. I think he does bring a little bit more to his game right off the bat. The only thing I will complain about, like, he has all these moves and all that, like, great hand fighting. I didn't see much of a bull rush to him.
I don't think he needed to. I
That's
think his
that's like the
speed was his
yeah.
game,
That's what I think as well. I didn't really. It's not that I thought his bull rush was bad. I just didn't see it. That's all I had noted.
and he
So
did have a pretty good rip.
yeah,
But like, dude, he's really good at reading through a play. There's plenty of times that he just hits the gap perfect.
right.
I mean, the guy is smart.
The only thing I'll also note is that he did have surgery in his foot in January. So
Oh, I didn't know about that.
yeah, he had to repair a fracture in his foot.
Oh, did he have the Jones fracture?
Yes, he did.
Okay, I knew somebody else had it.
I didn't knock him too much for it because I think that stuff's pretty routine from what
Yeah,
I've
I
heard.
mean,
So
we saw Kool-Aid McKinstry had the same thing,
right.
and then he ran his at his pro day, so he'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. It was just a little note. I don't think it's going to affect his draft stock at all.
But yeah, I mean, look, I think the top two are great, and then I think there's a lot of tools all over the place. There's a reason your top 10 and my 10 were pretty significantly different. It's we like different tools. I mean, some of the guys that are in my top 10 aren't even guys I would want.
I
To be
mean,
honest, based
through
on
this whole podcast series, like we've known you do like different tools.
yeah.
Many a debate, but
Well, I mean, you being a Seahawks fan and me being a Steelers fan, they're very
we're
different
we
put
get
together
biased towards
teams.
certain things. But
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I look at everything with Steelers goggles. I
yeah,
just do. I can't help it.
I think I'm pretty good at not using against it. It's like one
I think
draft
you
time
just
coming.
like to hide your preferences.
No, no, no. I don't think. Well,
You do.
because
I'm
there's.
calling you out. I'm calling you out right now.
I think there are guys that I really love that I don't think fit the Seahawks. Either way,
And that's like that's what I was saying about Jenkins. I don't see Jenkins being a Steeler. He
that's
doesn't
fine.
fit the mold.
It's when we start getting to the draft day is when I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna put the green and blue on the neon green rims, you know.
God.
But how about let's to wrap this up. Since you gave Dorless, you can do one
Yeah.
more, and I'll just do one more because we're kind of running on an hour and a half here.
Oh, absolutely.
So we'll each do one.
So I'm gonna do Gabe Hall out of Baylor.
Who thank
I
God you didn't pick my guy.
I know who you wanted to take, so that's why I didn't want to do that.
You're a doll.
So I have him as my 15th ranked player on the board here.
Don't blame you
He's
at all. He's awesome.
he's very versatile. He could play
He's
probably anywhere really.
you
He
said
comes in
15, right?
15th.
Yeah, he's my 15th as well.
He's 6'6", 287. Man, at the Senior Bowl, he was killing it, absolutely killing it. I wanted to put this guy higher on the list, but I couldn't based on tape.
Right.
I think he's pretty raw still, but I definitely I really think he has some extreme upside. Real lean build, high motor. He's got a decent bull rush. He can bat the ball, but he's an athletic freak.
Yes, he
I mean,
is.
there's no question. I thought the speed was good. You know, there's a lot of positives on this guy, and I think under the right defensive coach, he's going to be killing it.
Yeah, I think he has a little bit of everything, and as he mixes everything together, like it could have some of the most beautiful tape I've seen, and then a lot of times it's probably some of the worst.
I just think the
Um,
way that they used him on the defense was weird.
yeah, it could be. I will say so. He has all these tools that I really like, and he has the size and length. I did think he kind of turned like a Mack truck sometimes.
Yeah,
I
he's
didn't I
really
didn't
big,
like
but he's not
that.
fluid.
Right. So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I almost
But
wonder if I just want him to put on weight.
I c- I have like a I have an early day 3 pick for him,
That's what
but
I'm thinking as well. I think he's like a fourth round, fifth round pick, somewhere in that range.
I would be stoked to get him.
I like the player. I like watching the player. At the Senior Bowl, he was one of my favorites to watch.
I want to see his Senior Bowl tape
Dude,
though.
I
That
can't
sounds
believe
like
you
it'd be
didn't.
fun.
You gotta start watching the
I know, but I'm just like
Senior Bowl tape. It's my favorite.
I just think tape's the most important part. Like the actual game tape is the most important part. So I was like, I just focus on that first if I can.
So I actually had some Senior Bowl tape up today, and he was looking over at it. Man, he looked like a kid in the candy store just watching the Senior Bowl tape. I'm like, you don't want to watch the best offensive lineman go against the best defensive lineman one on one? Like this is my favorite tape to watch.
It's a damn
I
straight
love it.
I do. Line me up.
I mean, it's top tier guys against top tier guys, and that's my favorite way to grade them.
Let me just do my guy real quick.
Yeah,
You want to tell everyone who my guy is?
Keith Randolph.
Fuck you.
You did to me last time. No,
That's
it's
fair.
Jawan Briggs.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Marcus Harris out of Auburn.
I liked him
Uh,
a lot too.
he was
13th on my board.
13th.
Yeah, I had to.
He's
I can't.
14th. He's right
Oh, I
there.
guess so.
He was like you're out in the desert watching all this, grinding all this goddamn tape out, and you're watching just mediocre line play. And all of a sudden, he pops out of nowhere like a oasis, and I'm like, is this a mirage?
Well, and the thing is like when I saw there was two Auburn guys at the back of a lot of the power ranking boards or the big boards, I was like, oh god, I'm gonna have to watch these two fucking guys from Auburn that I'm not gonna like because I just don't like watching Auburn tape a lot of the time. I mean, Derek Hall from last year, I think is the first guy I ever really liked on that defense that I can think of. But man, Marcus
Yeah.
Harris.
Yeah, he's first step and leverage is fantastic. And he's easily slips off blocks. Like he's basically another one of these disruptor penetrator types. The thing I thought was funny though, I feel like sometimes I can't tell if he knows what he's doing or if he's just winging it. Like, because sometimes he's just like running around like a maniac. I couldn't tell if it was like, oh, this is all according to plan.
I definitely think he
Um,
keeps his eyes too much on the guy in front of him,
yeah,
but, like, it was really inconsistent.
yeah, it was. I mean,
It
that's
it
kind of why where I
was.
came from. Like, I thought his bull rush was a little limited. I think overall he was a little limited. I think his role will probably be limited in the NFL, but I think he'll find a good role for himself.
I also think he was one of my least favorite defenses to watch all season.
Yeah,
Like, my worst offense was definitely Virginia,
right.
or was it Virginia or Virginia Tech? Maybe it was Virginia Tech. Was, like, the worst offense I watched all year. Like, I just hated watching them every time I watched somebody go against them. And I think one of the worst defenses was Auburn. And I like some of the guys on the defense. That one safety they got is pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, like you're drafting him for his instant running, like run
I think
defense
he
game.
I think he could play special teams immediately,
Oh, for sure.
especially with the
Um,
kickoff rules. I think he would be a pretty good fit. So he's gonna make a roster. I think of him as like a fourth, fifth round pick.
exactly. That's where I have him. But he'll be a good run defender first year while he develops his pass rush a little bit more. But you know, I think he'll be only able to cover one gap though. He's not like these guys that could stack a guy and cover both gaps. I think he'll only be able to do the one side because I think he'll have to angle it. But we'll
Yeah,
see.
I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you there.
But that about wraps it up for us today. Let us know what you think. If we missed any guys that should be in the top 10, I mean, it's so deep, we probably won't even argue with you.
Oh yeah, and I mean, like I said, my grades from 20 to 12 were all within 2% of each other. Like, there's a good middle pack. Different
Yeah.
traits, different weaknesses. I mean, I like this is just kind of like the edges. I like the depth of this draft. Like, I think there's a lot of good depth players, a lot of projects that are like realistic projects, not just like, oh, this guy played one really good game 2 years ago, or like I think there's realistic guys here, like you said. I mean, Marcus Harris, Hassan Smith, Rukaroro, even guys like Christian Boyd, who we haven't even talked about. I mean, there's a lot of guys that I like.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting all excited for the draft. I hope I don't take a defensive lineman early, though. I want other
Find out.
things.
That's the joy. You just never know. Nothing's ever certain until after.
I think I'd
And
be pretty pissed.
the hot
Honestly.
takes that we're going to have is going to be fantastic. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. And everyone have fun at the draft
Yeah, have fun at the draft. Get a little angry. Maybe have a beer.
or
Yeah,
some raw, it's just straight up gin. Who knows?
that's only
Anything's
when you
possible.
draft Kenny Pickett instead of Malik Willis. Still sticking with my call.
All right. Cool. Bye.
Bye.